Now we're going to look at solving equations. Refresher is the steps to solve an equation. One thing you want to keep in mind, so don't forget, please excuse my dear Aunt Ray. And what it tells you, it's the order of operations. Parentheses first, exponents second, multiplication and division together, left to right. Addition and subtraction together, left to right. So addition and subtraction tie on importance, and multiplication and division tie on importance. Whichever one you see first is the one you do when you're working on that set. So the first step, parentheses, is typically used for the distributive property. So we perform any distributive property, all right, shown in the equation. So you can see here, there's your parentheses. So I have to distribute across that. 5 times 7 is 35. The 5 goes on to everything because I have 5 7s and I have 5 of these minus 3 x's. If I have 5 of them, I'm going to have 15, and I'm still subtracting. Then the next step is to combine any like. Now that does not mean that are on the same side of the equal sign. So I'm not going to combine that 2x with that 4x. So do not cross the equal sign. So if I look at my x's on the left, I have negative 15 and positive 2x. You might be tempted to say negative 17x, but that's actually not true. This is a negative 15x, this is a positive 2x, so you actually have negative 13x. And then 35 and 8, these are both positive, we get 43. And kind of like in the warm-up, you can go either way. You can actually have your variable on the right side. So since that will make it positive, that's the way I'm going. 17x plus 9. So what we're trying to do is isolate the variable, get it by itself. And there are two ways. One, we do this by adding or subtracting. And what could we be adding and subtracting? Well, you just saw I added and subtracted variables, right? So I can do that. Next, which I'm going to do next. So I can subtract 9 from both sides, which leaves me with 34 is 17x. I'm almost there. And the last step is to multiply or divide both sides by the same number. It's usually the coefficient, the number in front of your variable. Pretend that's divide. And that's a 17 in this case. So 2 is x. Now this next equation, I'm kind of giving you a preview of a very common equation in statistics. It's for a z-score. So it's a test statistic. And this is x, the value from your sample, and mu is your average, and sigma is your standard deviation. Right now I'm not too worried about knowing all the meanings of these. I'm just going to go ahead and solve this equation. So we're practicing now. So I always like to write my equation first before I substitute. The only one I don't know is x. I know z is 2, sigma is 1.5, and mu is 11. So 2 equals x over 1.5. Now most people look at this and they're like, ugh, they're fractions. Usually life gets easier if you rewrite this 2 as 2 over 1. So when you have a fraction on both sides, it just feels better because a lot of you like to cross multiply. So we cross multiply next. 2 times 1.5, I hope you know that's 3. 1 times x minus 11. Then I finally add 11 to both sides. And I find out that x is 14. We'll do one more, and this time we're going to be solving for a different thing. We're going to solve for sigma, so that's even more intimidating. So I have z equals 1.5, x minus mu over sigma. All right, ignore that. X is 70, mu is 67, z is 1.5. So if I put all those numbers in, so even though that's funny looking, doesn't mean I can't solve it. 1.5, I'm going to put over 1, equals 3 over sigma. You can cross multiply again. 1.5 times sigma equals 3. Then you can divide both sides by 1.5. And hopefully you know that 1.5 goes into 3 twice. So sigma equals